Welcome, Paynesville area schools, residents, community members, staff. Welcome to another district town hall on either Facebook Live or YouTube Live, wherever you're joining us from. Tonight we have an exciting evening for you. Many of you have been driving by the secondary facility and you can't help but notice the construction that's going on. This evening we have a live tour of that. It's a recorded tour, but it's a live video tour of the construction that was taken last week. So we'll visit a little bit about that. We're also going to talk about just the kind of mile markers, milestones of the facility project, and kind of give everybody a timeline as far as where things are and where we anticipate moving in the future. Just remember, as we're going through this evening, you're more than welcome to contribute your questions. You can certainly put questions in the comments section. You are stuck with just me tonight. Usually I have a couple of other colleagues with me, but it is just me, so I will do my best to catch as many of those questions as I can. If for some reason you feel like I'm missing your question, you can always submit it a second time, and I will certainly try to circle back and address those. As I mentioned, we have a tour of the facility construction progress to date. So at this point, I'm going to turn things over to our producer, Matt Dickhausen, and he's going to cue up the video.
I'm Josh Skogman. I work for Site Logic. We are the program manager for the facility project that we're going to take a look at right now.
I'm John Olson. I'm with BCI Construction. We are handling the general trades package of this project. That would be anything from dirt moving, concrete, all the way up to finishes into tile, carpets, any type of flooring, stuff like that. So,
the fire suppression system, so I forget the percentages, but a large part of the school is sprinklered. So part of the project was to upgrade or add, I should say, that sprinkler system to bring it up to code, so that we're where we need to be from a code perspective without any grandfathers or waivers.
Transition from 2x4 ceiling tiles to 2x2, a little more modern looking.
So yeah, as part of that, the ceiling was upgraded, I'll say, to bring it a more modern look.
So I would say this was the most complex, thought through part of this project was getting this new boiler in here. Originally it was planned and bid this way to bring it through that wall, through this wall, and then set it down into the boiler room, which is about 4 feet lower than us right now. When we actually got on site, we found out that that was not physically possible. So we came together and figured out a plan, and we actually put it through the roof, took the old one out, brought the new one in all in the same day. And then it's just been about 3 weeks of piping it and tying it back in.
So one of the challenges we also had was with the delays due to COVID manufacturer getting the boilers here. I think we were originally supposed to have the boiler June
15th.
And it arrived mid-August?
August 22nd.
You know the dates exactly.
Yeah.
So needless to say, it's been a challenge getting it in, getting it fired up, getting it ready for this winter. But with everything coming together, it will be ready here in the next couple weeks. So we should be good. It'll be a dual fuel boiler. We'll be going through the startup process here in the next 2 weeks, just making sure that it fires up, that it's controlled, that it's under control, and that it's working efficiently. I think that process, we should be able to start probably sometime next week. This part of the project really entailed redoing the tile.
Yep.
And then upgrading the fixtures to more efficient and in these COVID times a safer hand-free fixture.
And right now what used to be the existing middle school wood shop and what is now converted to the agricultural room. So this started out as a completely separate room, and that was actually part of an addition, I believe I was told, in '92 from that part. So where these glass doors are, there's actually an existing building, an airspace, and a new building. On drawings, you don't really see that until we get here and we start cutting into the walls. We had to needle shore over all 3 garage doors and the walk door opening as that moved as well. Shore that all up, cut the block out, put it back in the correct opening spot, install the garage doors, paint it, and after that it was what it is now.
The other thing that I think is really cool about the space is just these garage doors and being able to open it up so that you're not, the groups aren't as segregated. They can work together. If there's something that the woods group needs to with the metals group, they can collaborate and feel like it's one big space. Or if they need to be separated, they can shut the doors and have that isolation, if you will. So we're currently in the new woods area.
Correct.
As far as upgrading the space, you know, one of the things that sticks out for me is the lighting. I know when I first came into this space previously, it was a little darker. I think upgrading the lights makes a huge difference. Obviously, the kids working on projects, they can do their best if they can actually see what they're working on. So to me, that's a huge aspect of this.
To me, it was just the amount of open space we created. I remember we came in here in beginning of May, and this would have been the existing ag room, and then a door here into the existing welding booth. Block wall right here, and this had a drop ceiling in it. It was pretty dungy, to say the least, in here. That was our first order of business, I guess, is we shored this whole wall, took out the existing block wall, dug down 4 feet, put new footings through here, set this iron, set that iron, remove the shoring, and then proceeded with finishes. That's typical with this wall, and across into the metals we did the same exact thing. So for a while there in June, there was quite a bit of shoring throughout this space.
So this new space is going to serve as the instructor's office, or offices. You know, one of the nice things of the concept of having the glass so that the instructors can see what's going on at all times, I think was a key piece. I'm not sure how many are there going to be. There's going to be 3, so all 3 will be located into the space. I think it's going to be great. Instead of being tucked away, instructors will still be integrated into the space.
So this was the existing metals, and now it is the new wood shop. Aside from just opening it up and creating the windows through and the garage doors through, one of my favorite features, was one of the harder issues, but was putting these windows in. Getting them, it just creates such a bigger space for us to use and for the school to use. So
I think it's nice too, because it allows people, if they're just passing by, they can actually see into the space, see what's going on, maybe get excited if it's a student who doesn't think about, you know, taking a woods class. He sees what's going on in here and gets excited about it and signs up for it the next semester. So
as you can see, it's all new ductwork ran throughout in here. There was 3 new rooftop units set, along with the dust collector, which we'll get to outside, but everything's hooked directly to dust extraction. We're working on final connection right now, just with working with the school and final placement of where they want their equipment. So within a week or so, every piece of equipment will be hooked up and ready to run. So right now I'm standing in what would be the new metal shop. And for those of you that have been here before, this would have been an existing wall, instructor's room, wood storage room, and a paint booth at the end. We took this whole load-bearing wall out, set beams, set columns, create this. I mean, we made this room 14 foot bigger all the way throughout. So right behind me would be the new finishing room. All the fumes are extracted right to the roof through a rooftop unit. There's fire dampers on the outside that drop on fire in case of an event. Past that, you'll notice that we're not completely set up in here, and that's just reason being is that there's no metals class this quarter. We're focusing on the wood shop. So this is another entrance to the CT shop, the metal shop that is. As you can see, we're still on final paint. Some minor punch list items we've been taking care of on Fridays, as that is a out of service day for students. So we're standing what used to be door 1, the main entrance off of the north parking lot that was there where the new building is now. Obviously we got a temp wall just for safety purposes throughout the course of construction. But once we are done, this wall will be removed, and then you will be walking down into a staircase and then down a ramp if need be, into the office space, the multi-purpose room, and into the field house.
So this will really serve as the connector,
yeah,
the addition in the field house.
More or less a breezeway into there. As you can see, I'm standing in front of the new dust collection system that we had pointed out inside. sitting on a new concrete apron we poured along with a new housekeeping pad with all new bollards placed all the way around. New pavement throughout. As you can see, we're only on our first lift right now. We'll pour second lift next summer, scheduled around mid-July right now. Get that taken care of right as soon as we leave. So here we're sitting in front of the new automotive. As you can see, it's a lot taller than the existing building. We will have, I think it's measured out at 17.5 feet of headroom in there for the lifts. The existing, I believe, is around 12. So they can get the car just high enough here. We'll be able to bring it as high as we want in there. Interesting to note is we're using quite a few local contractors. At Voss do all the concrete below ground. They'll also take care of all the flat work. Schoberg is taking care of all the masonry. They're out of Spicer, or New London, I should say. All the concrete supplied by Dunnick. All the MEP, that's Widener's out of St. Cloud, along with the electrical Augusta out of St. Augusta. So pretty cool core group of contractors we got here.
So this will be the new Automotive Space. It'll be I think a welcome addition compared to having students have to walk, during the winter time to get to automotive class. We've got three, you can see here, 3 large bay doors.
12 by 12s.
12 by 12 openings. Within the space, there'll be 4 vehicle lifts. So I think this will be a welcome addition. And what John was mentioning earlier, the ceiling height is going to be nice. It's going to provide lots of space. I don't know if there's anything else.
Piggyback off that, I guess, when we were in the metal shop, if you look that way, that will be the entryway into this area. So we're looking to cut that out probably around spring break. We'll get this all complete out here, all 100% operational. Cut that out, finish it all back in by the time students are back from spring break or any sort of break. Get that taken care of. Now we are standing in what is the multi-purpose / wrestling room. Where that rebar is with those caps on it right there, that is where we have another wall into the storage room. So you can imagine, I believe this wrestling room, something's like 40 feet by 60, enough for 2 full mats to fit in here. We're actually at a lower elevation on the finished floor in here. Reason being is there'll be a built-up wood floor for a little bit of relief on the mats, I should say.
Directly outside of the multi-purpose room, we go into the lobby and the ticket booth. And then that would serve as the main entrance into the field house.
So right now I'd be standing on what will be the mezzanine. We got a column there and a column out there. That whole roof over that part of the wrestling room is joist. This is all I-beams, 21-inch I-beams spanning the whole width, carrying a concrete floor above where all of our equipment will be housed. Right now I'd be in what is the entryway. Ticket booth would be right here. Group fitness, group cardio back there. And then the ramp, as you can see, chalked on that wall, along with a staircase, kind of a grand entryway right here. If you can imagine that structural steel standing right there, that'll be all exposed glass up high, letting in natural light and whatnot. And we take a look over this way. You'll see the office space along with the bathrooms. I believe the community, what would be the personnel name? Community ed office will be using that space. So here you'll see this door frame that goes back into the existing fitness room. Once we get to a point where this is dried in and complete, we'll then go into that area, cut it in, cut that glass out, and make a smooth transition into this space. So right now we are in the community center. This is all a pre-engineered metal building, meaning that it was all, basically this comes as a large Lego kit and we bolt it together. A lot more complex than that, but to simple it down, that's what it is. Came on 13 trucks from central Indiana. All got delivered same day. Sat in that north field for a little bit while we did concrete. Interesting part about this, I'm sure you've seen it if you're driving around. This was actually set in just over 6 working days to get to this point. Then it'll get liner paneled, or on the top, insulated from the top down, and then roofed. Standing seam tin roof. Overall dimensions on this are roughly, I believe, 150 by 205, enough to fit 4 basketball courts at one time, or it is orientated with the hoops to do multiple basketball courts for practice. That being said, you can see that we're pre-painting it. Eliminates a lot of the need for masking and whatnot. We're just getting a primer on it right now. Battling the wind a little bit, but just picking and choosing our days. So to the north, we got 7 aluminum windows. I believe they are, off the top of my head, 6 by 10 or possibly a little bit larger. Bring a lot of natural light into this space. Interesting enough, I don't know if you'll be attaching a rendering or whatnot, but all of this big structure will be a green and all of our horizontals will be a white, obviously accenting the Paynesville colors. So we've changed our approach on this a couple times as far as how we want to go at it, as versus pouring the floor prior or pouring it after. We are now leaning at pouring it prior. So that means we got to get the underground done in the next week or so, above ceiling done in the next week or 2. Realistically, we're about 3 weeks out from pouring this floor. Pour the floor, then Pulsifer will be back and they'll start doing the liner panel on the roof. At the same time, they're going to be doing vapor barrier, liner panel, insulation from the top down, and then a standing seam roof. So they'll take as much as they can get done in a day, just to not have to fight with the weather. So I would say roughly, we're about 6 weeks out from having this completely dried in. Right now we're standing at what would have been the north of the north existing parking lot. The trail is relatively in the same spot. Past that trail would have been the junior high football field. Obviously now it's new parking lot. That was done by Knife River. Did that around August 26th, I believe was the date on that. And then had students on it the following week. You can see cars exiting out to the north. We added another entrance to Business 23. Along with all new LED fixtures in the lots. We're within an 1/8 inch of being completely square on this building. For a metal building, that's very good, and that's compliments of Voss Concrete as well. Locations at the right spot, and Pulsifer squaring it back together with these come-alongs and whatnot. A lot of the braces you do see, the cabling braces are permanent, but this one is only temporary. Into this corner, you got a walk door and 2 overhead doors that go into a storage space off of the community center. That'll just be used for pushing volleyball standards and whatnot into. Along with right here, you can't really see it now, but there will be a smaller overhead door to go to the exterior. So once this opens up in the spring, this will be the trail for the public that connects over to cross Highway 23 as well. If you believe it or not, underneath here there is roughly 1,440 cubic yards of chopped up tire to drive aggregate. Basically starting here, going all the way to the end, about 13 feet underground, brought up to about 4 feet under this cement, is chopped up tires placed for intake. So all the building rainwater comes to an intake, then flows into this. And then in the event of an overflow or anything like that, or it can't take on the load of the parking lot and the building, there is a bypass that puts it directly into the city storm water.
The state plan review took longer than we anticipated. So when we were planning on starting, we had about a 3 week. It was about 3 weeks. About a 3 to 4 week delay, and then the plumbing permit was another issue, and that was directly related to that as well. As far as just plan review takes longer right now with state workers working from home, especially at that time. Everything just took exponentially longer. And questions with plumbing review, granted, when you think of plumbing, you think of toilets and all that stuff. That actually has to do with all my civil work as well. So we couldn't get going on a lot of stuff pending our plumbing sizes and whatnot. Another issue we had was with the automotive. We had to jump out of sequence. There was a underground gas line we did not know about. Scheduled the gas company to come in here. Working with them, it took about 3 weeks for them to get in here and move that line. So that moved schedule a little bit, but nothing we can't bounce back from. And
as of right now, I feel like we're right on pace to get this done.
Yeah, to these guys' credit, they did a really good job of shifting some things around, shifting some resources around to make sure that we still were ready for this school year and the start of next school year.
For example, this metal building was not planned to be set up by right now. We were scheduled to be doing bar joists inside. With that slight delay, we switched it around and we took them in here, got the concrete done in time, had them set this, then they're going to bounce back to that. That's just a matter of being able to switch roles and whenever you want. So.
All right, thank you. Once again, I also want to extend my thanks to Josh Scogman from SiteLogic and John Olson from BCI for taking the time out of your busy day to help us film that footage and kind of give us the play-by-play update as far as what's going on with the facility project. A couple of things I just want to highlight about construction timeline. One of the pieces that Josh and John did touch on is the boiler project. So both schools have recently had new boilers installed. The elementary school has 2 brand new boilers, both steam boilers that have been installed. The secondary school, which you saw in the footage, had the 1 new steam boiler installed. The other boiler at the secondary school was put in 2005, and so that one still has plenty of life left in it and was not replaced. Both of those, all 3 boilers that are now in the district, those are all just starting the startup process this week. And I'm thinking here by the end of the week, we will be ready to go and have those boilers on standby, which is good timing because it looks like our fall weather is turning a little cooler as well. Just to note on those boilers, as long as I can remember seeing, as far as when I arrived in the district, those boilers are continue to be dual fuel source. So we have the capability to either burn natural gas as our fuel source, which is our primary source. It's our most affordable, most efficient source. And if need be, we can also switch over to a fuel oil source as well. That doesn't happen very regularly. The last time that we were asked to switch over to fuel oil would have been a couple years ago when we had the polar vortex and it got so cold for that 3, 4, 5 day period. So those boiler rooms are just about back and ready and operational, and we're looking forward to operating those 3 new boilers in the district. The CTE space, which you saw a lot of, they're still finishing that space up. Some punch list items are being taken care of, some final pieces here and there. The one thing I will say about the video, the metals shop is still in process. The red unit that was in that footage is actually one of the welding tables. Those are all new. There'll be 10 of those units. Those units are self-contained. They have self-contained filters in them, and they will also be portable. So we could actually use those, for instance, in the automotive shop when it gets complete, or use them as a bay of 10 in a welding or a metals class situation. The new auto shop, we're hoping, everything is on time right now, and I know I probably shouldn't be talking about it because it'll jinx it or something, but the new auto shop is progressing, and we're hoping that if everything goes well, there would be an outside chance that we could actually move our auto shop at the end of 3rd quarter into our new space, with the idea then that this spring students could experience the new space. Of course, time will tell as far as if that timeline can happen. For sure, that auto shop will be completed with the other space, which is scheduled to be completed in August of 2021. Just a reminder, if you have questions, you can certainly ask those questions. You can submit those in the comment section. I'd be more than happy to try and answer whatever questions people might have. The other thing I just wanted to touch on is we also are going to have a few new pieces of equipment that are in the CTE spaces. The welding tables, I mentioned those briefly. There was one of them in the footage. It's a red unit that's on casters. Those tables will actually have 10 of those, and as I said before, they are portable. They really give us a lot of flexibility whether we want to use them in a traditional metal space or if we want to take them and use them in the automotive shop. We would have that capability. The finishing booth, that finishing booth, pre-filters and everything that went into it, it was about a 12 by 12 space. So this finishing booth would be something where you're not necessarily going to be, finishing a whole automobile or something like that, but you could certainly do parts. You could do a quarter panel, you could do a door, you could do a bumper, you could do a variety of other finishing pieces as well, as far as any of the finishing of woods projects, any furniture. Really would be able to fit through there. If you could fit it through the doorway, you would be able to use that finishing room, and it will be operational for anything that would be for a woods project or potentially a metals project or an automotive refinishing or construct or automotive repair class. The other thing that was there, just had a snippet in the video. It was a little hard to recognize, but the district has also invested in a CNC plasma cutter and table. And so there's a new CNC plasma cutter and then a 4x8 table that is also a piece of that piece of equipment. So we'd be able to take a 4x8 sheet of stainless steel and be able to use that plasma cutter on that table, and it'd be CNC operated. Again, if there are questions, I am more than happy to try and answer any questions. The last thing I can say as far as the facility project is concerned, the good news is, and both John and Josh alluded to this in the video, they have been very flexible. We have run into a few things that have been a little hiccups. Obviously, the delay in getting the boilers wasn't anticipated, and so it was nice to be able to see them to be able to switch from their original plan to be able to keep the project moving forward, and then come back when the boilers did get delivered to be able to circle back and pick up that work and still be making progress so that we can keep our major milestones on track and ready for that August of 2021 completion. The other really good news that I can share with everybody, and I think the one a lot of people care about, is where's the project financially. The thing that I can say is that we are still operating within the same parameters that we talked about when the project was in the development phase. So we're on budget, and we've had a good summer and a good early fall in order to get construction tasks done, and the weather's cooperated, and so hopefully those things will continue. But it's always nice once you get structures up, and then kind of the next milestone is once you actually get them enclosed. All of these things kind of lead towards, there's just major milestone after milestone that you kind of feel like your budget is being solidified, and you're going to be able to stay on course and on budget. And the good news is so far we are right on budget. We are looking good financially with where the expected costs were supposed to come in and actually where actual costs are. So we're up at this point anyway. We are on budget and on time, and I get reminded regularly that when it comes to construction projects, if you can say that, you should be pretty happy with the process of construction. One last ask, if anybody has questions, please submit them now. The video associated with this evening's live town hall content will be available on our website, I believe by afternoon tomorrow. We will just get the 14-minute video or 15-minute video that has the tour. That'll be up on the web page. You can go ahead and share that, or you can pass it along to somebody who you think might be interested, or rewatch it or take a second look at if you want. But with that, if there aren't any questions or anything, I would like to thank everybody for taking a little bit of time out of your Monday and being able to check out the process and the progress that we're making with the construction project. And stay tuned. We will have another Facebook Live, YouTube Live event at the end of October. So please keep thinking about us and check that out and look for that announcement as we get closer. And I will see you next month. Take care. Stay well.